Hello everyone, it's Brian in Toronto. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back. Today is going to go down as a very momentous day because for the very first time in the history of this channel, which only goes back a year and a half or so, I have a guest. Now, it took some planning and some organization to make it happen because he lives in a really stupid time zone, but I have a guest. And the reason I have a guest today is because this is sort of like a mid-month or an interim recent finds video, and I realized that these three records could do with some additional context. So I managed to make this happen. So I guess I'll have a drum roll. The guest today is none other than Professor Ben Rankins.
If you like that, you're gonna like this. Welcome, or should I say g'day? It's Ben from Melbourne here.
So thanks for joining me, Ben. I think it's fair to say that you are fairly well known in the vinyl community, but just in case some people are unaware of you or your channel, maybe you could take a few moments to introduce yourself. That would be fantastic. Thanks.
Hello, vinyl community. My name's Ben. I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I've been watching VC videos for a little while now. I really enjoy them. There's a lot of great personalities out there with very diverse tastes and a lot of strong opinions, which I like. And I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring and have a go. Being from Melbourne, Australia, when I can, I'm going to try and focus on Australian music as much as possible.
Thanks very much for that great introduction, Ben. So based on what you said, can we assume that you're some sort of expert or specialist in Australian music?
By no means am I an expert, but I think I have a fairly good selection of most of the important albums from pretty much every era from the 60s onwards, a lot of different styles as well. I think we have a very strong scene over here, which is, if anything, probably a little bit unloved on the world stage, or maybe it's just because it's not as well known.
You mentioned Melbourne. I'm just wondering if you can maybe just provide some context. Like, what is Melbourne known for?
Melbourne, home of coffee and rock and roll.
Fantastic, Ben. I just wanted to get to one other thing before we get into the music, and that is, I'm curious about your influences in the vinyl community. Maybe you could just take a moment to mention maybe your favorite VC channel. That'd be great.
The great Brian from Embryotic Robot.
Wow, thanks so much for those lovely words, Ben. I'm kind of floored that you would say that. Now, the reason I decided to bring Ben onto the show today was because the three records that I'm showing are all from his area, so all from Australia. And I thought he could provide some context, maybe could add some commentary about them, that kind of thing. So I think it makes a lot of sense. So the first one I want to talk about is the record from Eddie Current Suppression Ring. This is a record called All in Good Time. It was released in 2019, and as of today, it is the last thing that they have released. And it's the inner sleeve. And it's on this, I guess you might say it's seafoam green, maybe. It kind of matches the color of the package itself. So now I know Ben has this record, but maybe we could start with just generally about the band itself. What does it mean to you? Ben, what about them? What can you tell us about the band?
These guys were just what I needed at that time when things were getting a little bit, how shall we say, cardigan wearing and introspective. And this was a good shot of raw, sharp punk rock. Brilliant stuff.
So what would you say Eddie Current Suppression Ring is known for, if anything?
Bringing punk back to the Melbourne scene in a big way. Great songs, great live band. Legendary over here.
All right, that's fantastic. I'm wondering if you can just take a moment to talk about this record in particular, because I know you have a copy of it, and I'm hoping you can share your impressions with everyone here today.
This one's on Castleface Records. This one's called All in Good Time. Nice cover artwork on this one. Boys lifted their game a bit. It's got your lyrics in there. And this one, I believe, is coloured vinyl, because that's what Castle Face does. Quite nice, actually. Matching both sides of the label's pretty good.
Great. Thanks very much for that, Ben. I want to go into record number 2, which is also a record that you own. I know you own it. It's from Vacuum. And let me just talk about this hype sticker, because I do love a well-written hype sticker. And this one says, for all its psychic terror and bludgeoning gut punch sub-bass, the long-awaited debut album from cult Aussie electronic producers Vacuum, a.k.a. Andrea Blake and Jenny Brannigan, is a record with refreshing, bristling wit. Mighty sub-bass inspired by the rumbling exhaust pipes of muscle cars contrasts the body-moving dynamism of early Detroit techno with a slow stomp claustrophobia evocative of underground 90s hip-hop production. Its elliptical industrial songs apply a piquant buzz to contemporary or experimental electronic music. I couldn't have said that better myself. And it's a limited edition of 300, I believe, on this matching red-colored vinyl. So all I can say now is I know you have something to say about this, Ben. So let's hear your opinion on it.
A new one, which features Jenny Brannigan, who was the former singer of the great electro punks Nun, and Andrea Black, who I want to say had something to do with the It record label, but I'm not 100% sure.
I just read the hype sticker, but I'm wondering how you would describe the music on this record.
This is it's kind of like soundscapes and sort of dark sounding, icy, electronic, no wave. Add a few more descriptors there, as you will.
Excellent. That is just awesome. I'm really glad you've joined me today. So just one last piece of music to wrap it up, and that is going to be this incredible record from Roland S. Howard called Pop Crimes. Now, I've heard Ben talk about this before, and I was not sure what I was expecting, but I listened to this and I was captivated. I think he used the word masterpiece. It is an incredibly good record. And at the same time, it's a really sad listen because, he died shortly after this as I'm shuffling things around. But once again, let's get some input from a man down under.
The great man over my shoulder, Roland S. Howard, with his last record, Pop Crimes, from 2009, released on Liberation Records. This one's actually released 10 years after his previous solo record, The Brilliant Teenage Snuff Film, and sadly 2.5 months before his death from liver cancer. But this is, probably his masterpiece in a lot of ways. The first track, I Know a Girl Called Johnny, shares the vocals with Janine Standish from Hate Rock, another great Australian band, which Roland produced.
Now, my understanding is that the press really loved this record too, and I'm just wondering if you would agree with that.
To quote something I read, Pop Crimes may be Howard's last will and testament, but as such, it's a physically forceful, deeply emotive, dramatic finish full of memorable songs and unforgettable moments that make it a high watermark in Australian music. And I wholeheartedly agree. The brilliant Roland S. Howard with Pop Crimes.
That's a really interesting quote there. Thanks for that. I just wanted to backtrack a bit. I know some people may have joined late, so I wanted to just do a little recap. Could you maybe just once again mention who your favorite channel in the VC is? I'm sure lots of people would like to know that.
That's right. Brian Embryotic Robot, all the way from Canada.
Gee, thanks. I'm almost speechless. Thanks for being so generous with your words. And I'll just throw it back to you. If there's anything you'd like to wrap up, anything you'd like to say, just to close this out. Let's hear from Ben one last time. Great. Thanks, Professor Ben Rankins, for joining me today on my channel. I know it's difficult to arrange because your time zone just is ridiculous, but we worked around it. Happy to have you here. Maybe we can do it again sometime. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you all next time.